like to welcome you all to the Bermondsey Bramcott St George's Day celebrations. This is our 8th year of doing it, and it's always a success. We've been very fortunate again this year.
In Bermondsey, celebrating England's patron saint on St George's Day has become an inclusive community event. A former industrial area alongside the River Thames in South London, Bermondsey used to be an independent borough and still has a strong sense of local identity and pride, with its own traditions. Like all of South London, migration has changed the profile of the population in Bermondsey, but more slowly than in other nearby neighbourhoods, and with not everyone experiencing the change positively.
I mean, I suppose I could go in there and give her a map. You must have a map where, where perhaps you could tell me where Bermondsey is, because I don't think, Bermondsey was Bermondsey, you know what I mean? Good old-fashioned Bermondsey, because it wasn't a very big estate, you know what I mean? In fact, you go to the end of this road here and you go up to the tunnel, before you go down to Rotherhithe, that's where Bermondsey stops.
Until the Jubilee line arrived in the late 1990s, I think, there was a sense that this peninsular area that contained the old South London docks was a forgotten corner of South London. There was no reason to come into it, because you couldn't, and that was built on a traditional island mentality that had grown up around very tight, strong working class communities around the docks.
The Old Kent Road, as many people might know on a Monopoly board, is the area with the greatest poverty. You can cheaply rent it.
That's right.
But it's actually a physical barrier between communities, and I used to describe it like a hole in the donut, where you had regeneration happening around this area, but not with this area. And that breeds discomfort and a sense of everything is happening for others and not for us. And some of that actually is quite true.
In the 1980s and 90s, Bermondsey suffered from an association with racist, far-right political parties such as the BNP, the British National Party.
There was an anxiety about that in terms of a sense that the BNP at the time felt that they could march through every St George's Day. People coming from all around to march through this area to make their statement.
The real issue here in Bermondsey, in South Bermondsey, was Southwark Park Road. No, that's associated with some quite violent extremism in the 80s and 90s.
We were going back, say in the 90s, the early 90s, the BNPs would have marches, and people from ethnic minority backgrounds like myself, working in either Blue Anchor or Rotherhithe libraries, often what would happen is senior management would, or local management senior, they would say, "Oh no, you can't work here this Saturday. Make sure you and then make sure that you'd be working at another library."
One particular day, they was hurling some racialist abuse at someone, and as I just said to you, a few of us market stallholders went up and intervened. There was a little bit of a scrap.
And I said, what we need locally is a hate crime conference, but we'll put in some football activity. And do you remember? Not one. I think we had 2 residents who turned up to that. And of course the issue there is that if you call something hate crime, people feel scared to come forward, but also people don't want to be associated with something that actually, how can I put it, denigrates the area. We've got to speak up for the area. We've gone through that phase of saying that this area is run down, it's neglected, it needs support. We're here now, and we've got to start standing up for the area. And yes, talking about its needs, but also a sense of pride. From that discussion about a perceived failure, the hate crime conference, we said, well, let's do something positive. Let's do St George's Day. always had that traditional link with St George.
It's a debate, but how do you identify Englishness? And how can you regain the language and the pride in the Cross of St George that doesn't automatically associate yourself with a far-right organisation or attitude?
Yes.
A coalition of grassroots organisations in the area came together in the South Bermondsey Partnership to work on St George's Day and other local projects, with support from Southwark Council, the local authority, and Millwall Football Club, the locally based team.
I was fortunate enough to be involved with the South Bermondsey Partnership from day one. It was involved in community engagement in the area of Bermondsey. There was still quite a big area on the outskirts of Bermondsey, which is the bit along the Old Kent Road, where literally no work had been done.
What was interesting about this partnership and this approach is that it was built very much within an existing organisation. So it wasn't, in a sense, new people coming in, especially from government. We know all the answers. It was an existing organisation, Bede House, taking the initiative, along with the council, and what that meant to improve the area.
In the new century, the pace of change increased. In South Bermondsey, white British people went from 60% of the population to just 40%. But a gap was opening up between the old Bermondsey and the new Bermondsey, between the people who remembered the days of the docks and the newcomers who didn't.
You have a big mix, lots of people from all different parts of the world.
Half of these people down here are Bohemian, Russian, from all over. Bermondsey's a mix.
I said every continent in the world is certainly represented here. Name the country and you can guarantee I've pretty much served somebody from there.
People that's moved into the area, and what I try and do, in my own personal way, is I try and put a bit of Bermondsey in them. Their generations are going to be born round here, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So their kids are still going to be Bermondsey boys and girls.
The South Bermondsey Partnership was all about enabling and engaging and working with local people, local residents, wonderful people like Pat, so St George's Day definitely has been embedded and is part of our work.
As we got into the partnership, it's grown with the partnership. It started off just as a one-off.
It's clearly aimed at everybody. It's not just how would I say? Since we say the BNP now, the BNP would like St George's Day to be a very Anglo-Saxon thing, very white, just about them, England for the English, whatever that phrase actually means. Certainly with regards to the council, anything that we in the library will be involved in, obviously is nothing like that.
Well, I don't think the BNP claimed the St George flag. Where did they claim it? They just a load of people that just waved the flag.
Millwall's a very patriotic football club. St George's Day means a lot to the fans. It's English, it's England. St George's Day is a big thing here. We have a St George's Day event that happens here every year.
St George is actually a patron saint of many countries.
It was a fun day. Everything that we did there was free, so we made sure that it was a free event. It was a community event. I think it had over 400 people there this year. So, it was bigger than last year. So, it went really well. All the young people took part. They enjoyed it. We do that every year. The person who runs it, Pat, has been doing it for years, and she, likes new people to come and likes new people to get involved in, embraces new ideas. It's very innovative.
Despite this growth and success, the work now faces new challenges. Integration and cohesion in Bermondsey are not just about ethnic diversity. Some parts of the area still feel left out. Territorial divides stop young people from coming together. Older people and younger people struggle to communicate with each other.
Well, young people have a barrier of not going into each other's postcode areas. Colour doesn't really matter that much in gangs in local London areas anyway. It's mainly about territory.
We'd identified 6 very large estates on both sides of the Old Kent Road where there's a high influx of new immigrants to the area, very low employment. There's literally nothing in the area that people could apply to work for. Sadly, quite low educational attainment, and we thought this was the area that would be best served by working with the people on those estates. And we were the second to be appointed by the big local to receive funding, which is a long-term process. We've got £1 million over 10 years, and then last year we applied for the big fund, which has enabled us to start several major programmes along that area.
Our part is in terms of the football club is we're focused on youth. So we are going to be, we've developed a programme for young people who are not in employment or education or training, which we help them get back into training or employment. We've also got another project that's working there in the evening to developing community cohesion. So we're going to develop football teams on each of the 6 estates and bring them all together to be one football team. So hopefully the young people engage with each other, get to know each other, hopefully bring community cohesion, actually bring them to get to know each other and hopefully make a safer place, more freer place for young people to walk around.
So the big local has become quite important to the partnership board.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know,
it's to get people involved. It's to incorporate everybody. Just get people involved to do more things, because people at the moment have shut themselves off. They're not getting interested. They don't want to get interested. It's just to bring people together, get them more active, and find out what's going on.